Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to our channel. This is Sydney, and you are on the Connor and Sydney channel. This week we're doing another video on Say Yes to the Dress. Oh, we got a visitor. This week we're doing another video on Say Yes to the Dress. Last week I posted our mini episode from the show. Hey, Bruno. I guess he's just gonna have to sit there. Anyways, I posted our mini episode from when we were on Say Yes to the Dress last week. I'll post the link above here so you can go back and watch it if you haven't already. And some of you had questions, and so I'm here to address the questions this week. But today is all about the behind the scenes, letting you know kind of how it is on Say Yes to the Dress if you've ever wondered what it's like to be on the show. Alright, so first thing I want to address is I'm going to be speaking from my experience on Say Yes to the Dress America. Now that is a spin-off of Say Yes to the Dress, meaning everything might not work the same as it does when you're on Say Yes to the Dress. On Say Yes to the Dress America, they chose a couple from every single state to get flown to New York, pick out their wedding dress, and the next day was a pre-wedding reception where all the states got together and kind of celebrated their wedding. And the day after that, all our dresses were altered, and all 52 couples, so the 50 states plus DC and Puerto Rico, all met in Central Park to get married by the Bethesda Fountain. So typically this doesn't happen on Say Yes to the Dress. Usually you just go and you pick out your dress at Kleinfeld and then you go home and you have your wedding later on. So this show was a little bit different. So some of the things I say may not apply to Say Yes to the Dress. So I'm just speaking on my own personal experience on Say Yes to the Dress America. I'm going to be reading some of the questions. We're going to start out with the question that's so commonly asked: how did you get on the show? Okay, so for me, it was different than most people. I think a lot of people send in an application and that's how they get on the show. But I actually was sent a message from a producer on Instagram right after Connor and I got engaged. I posted a picture of us like announcing that we were engaged on Instagram, and I put a bunch of hashtags. I don't even know what they were, probably like hashtag wedding 2019, hashtag Say Yes to the Dress. I don't even know. But whatever I put on there obviously got the attention of some producer from the show, and they sent me a message asking me if I would be interested in being on their spin-off show. And obviously first impression was, this is totally fake. I think everybody's gotten a message once or twice of something that sounds way too good to be true and you don't even respond, because why in the world would someone be asking you through an Instagram message to be on a TV show? But first thing I did was send it to my mom and my sisters and say, what do you guys think about this? And my mom was all excited, but my sisters were like, obviously this is fake. And I was like, yeah, I know, I think it's fake too. So I did some research through Google, and one thing led to another. I found out Say Yes to the Dress America wasn't really being talked about. It was kind of a secret thing. But I was able to find like one link talking about the potential for a show called Say Yes to the Dress America. And then like one of the producers that I was speaking with, I was able to find her Instagram account and connect her to the show and figure out that everything was legit. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to message this girl back and see what happens. And I started getting phone calls from her. I started doing Skype interviews with this girl. She wanted me and Connor to send in a video application kind of saying who we are, how we represent Indiana, why we should be on the show, and totally didn't expect to hear back from her. But every time we sent something back, we were getting responses every single time. And we just kept being like, what in the world is going on? This is so weird. Like, we just expected to send one thing back and never get another response. But everything kept getting more and more official, and everything fell into place, and it was all totally real. However, once we got to New York and all met up for this process, we were all talking about kind of how we got chosen for the show, and many of the girls did send in applications, but there were a few of us that did get specifically picked out to be on the show. I know they did the same to a couple of the other girls, so I don't really know, but they did still make us go through all the processes of sending in applications, making an application video, and all those kinds of things. So we did still have to go process by process. So that's how I personally got on the show. But I think most people do apply online. So if you're wanting to be on the show, I would definitely suggest sending in an application rather than hoping they reach out to you on Instagram. The next question is, are there ways to increase your chances of getting on the show? I think there are definitely ways to increase your chances of getting on the show. You have to do something to really stand out. Like for us, since we lived in Indiana and we live out in the country, I think there were things that could set us apart. Connor and I are both deer hunters, so We put in little clips of us dressed in all camo out in the woods hunting. We had pictures of me showing pigs. We had clips of us playing with ducks in our backyard. The producers were like fascinated when I told them I showed pigs and they didn't understand what that even meant. So that's funny to me because it's something that's really normal in my area. But you have to do things like that that are going to set you apart. Other girls, I know they just went all out on their personality on their submission videos, like being very loud, very bubbly, over the top. If you're sending in a video, do something funny, do something so overboard that they're gonna be like, we want this girl on TV, she is funny. Be quirky, say something weird, make yourself different. But there are so many videos that get sent in all the time of very sweet girls, very beautiful girls. Everybody who sends stuff in has so much going for them, so you have to do something to make them stop. Maybe you have a cool job, maybe you have a hobby that's super unique, or you met your fiance in a crazy way that nobody's ever really heard of before. Put something in there that they're going to remember. The next question is, were you nervous to be on TV? And I don't know what it was, but I just really wasn't that nervous. I think it's because I grew up really liking to perform, doing cheerleading, playing instruments. I always wanted to be in talent shows, always wanted to be in front of people. So that kind of thing never worried me or made me nervous. I did just hope that I didn't make myself look like an idiot on TV. That was the only thing I was worried about. What was it like to be on camera? Being on camera was a little weird because it's not just like your friend taking a video of you and you're having fun and goofing off, but it's like big giant cameras with people that you've never met and they have them on their shoulders and they're like all these lights on you and you feel a lot more pressure to say the right things and do the right thing. You can tend to almost forget what you're gonna say because you're just like, oh my gosh, it's on, this could be on TV. But the truth is they don't use all of the footage that they take anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you say the wrong thing. And the funniest thing was seeing how Connor and my mom and my best friend reacted in front of the camera, because I don't know sometimes if I'm acting weird, but I can tell if they're acting a little bit off. And Connor's usually like very chatty and super funny, and in front of the camera he would kind of just be like looking over at me like, what are you gonna say? So I felt like I had to keep talking, and my mom and my best friend are super bubbly, loud personalities, so I was like, okay, this will be awesome. And they both were acting all proper on camera. Once the cameras were on, people really do feel so much pressure to act perfect on TV. When we first got to the hotel, when we got to New York, we walked in the door to the hotel and thought we were just checking in, but even at the front desk, there were like cameras there waiting on us, like, here's the Indiana couple, how do you guys feel? And I just remember my husband was completely silent. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much pressure on me to figure out what to say. I had been traveling since like 5 a.m, so my makeup was all smeared. I was wearing my glasses. I was like, oh my goodness, I did not expect there to be cameras right here. But none of that even made it on TV. They just want to have footage of everything, but I think it's intimidating at first because you expect that every clip that they take of you is going to end up on TV. The next question is, was the dress selection overwhelming? To be honest, on Say Yes to the Dress America, it was not overwhelming. So they had us set up in essentially like 2 or 3 different sections of girls. So we would have like the section that I was in that went to try on dresses was probably like 20 girls. We all went there at the same time, and they didn't have that many dresses on the racks. Like there were racks all the way around the store, obviously, but it wasn't an overwhelming amount. You almost felt, because there's like 20 girls in there, you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta run, I gotta find the dresses I like. We were all like honestly running around in there, like grabbing things as we saw them, because if somebody else sees it first, they're gonna grab it off the rack and they might choose that dress and you might never get a chance to try it on. And there were so many of us like fighting over which dresses we wanted that we personally on Say Yes to the Dress did not have an overwhelming amount. But we did only see like the big open showroom. I think on the show you can see like all the back rooms that they go into if they can't find a good dress for them. I think it would be maybe overwhelming if you were the only girl in there having an appointment. But with all of us in there, like there were 52 of us total that needed a dress, and we were in the last session. We were just hoping that we would find a dress we like. We were almost like underwhelmed by the amount. Like, how in the world are we supposed to find our perfect dress out of this selection? The next question is, did you get to keep the dress? And the answer is yes. So that was awesome. I have a really cool souvenir from the show, and it is a Pronovius dress that I picked out at Kleinfeld, and I didn't have to pay for it. The show paid for all of it.
You don't have to worry about budget today.
And for people who ask how much it costs, I didn't get to see the price tag, but I looked it up later online. Some of the other girls from the show helped me find my dress and see how much it cost just out of curiosity. And it was $4,500, and you better believe I never would have been able to buy a dress that expensive. So I am really, really blessed to have gotten on the show. So we went to New York with our suitcases, and when we came home, we were all trying to fit these huge dresses in our suitcases, and luckily mine wasn't a poofy ball gown, so I was able to fold it up and wrap it up and figure out a way to get it stuffed in a suitcase, but it was really stinking hard. But some of the girls with poofy ball gowns literally just wore their dress on the airplane home because they had nowhere else to put it, because we didn't really take that into consideration ahead of time. Another question is it expensive to be on the show? I don't think you have to pay to be on the show. For us personally, during Say Yes to the Dress America, they paid for our flights to come out on the show. They paid for our hotel stay. They paid for our dress. There were really no costs involved. But obviously, whenever you take a trip somewhere, like we wanted to explore New York and those like 5 days that we were there, so we had to like pay for our dinners and all of our meals in between and all of that kind of stuff. But that was totally worth it for a free trip to New York. They did give us an extra like $200 for luggage if we did need to pay for a checked bag, or if we wanted to use it on taxi fees while we were there. But I think normally to be on the show, you don't have to pay for it. You just give them your budget, and you obviously have to pay for the dress. You see that on the show. They give them their budget, and then they choose within that budget. But we didn't have a budget. We got to pick whatever they had. But I'm not sure if they normally will pay for your flights. I'm not sure if that's just Say Yes to the Dress America, or if that's Say Yes to the Dress in general. The next question is, what is Randy really like in person or the other hosts? Oh my gosh, guys. So I think I always expected that you're going to meet the hosts in person and they're not really going to live up to the hype. And Randy is like literally the nicest person ever. Like even Connor, after we met him, he just kept saying, wow, that guy is so nice. Like he makes everyone feel like they're important and they're the star of the show. And when you talk to him, he really makes it sound like he's interested in your life, and he asks you questions, and he just really shows an interest, and he's so bubbly and excited for everyone. And the love that he's showing when he's talking to you is just as genuine with one person as it is to the next. Same with Haley Page when we met her, and Lazaro. All of them were incredibly joyful and excited. They were all very loving and supportive. Another question is, were you competing with other couples to get on the show? And this I don't know, because they told all of us like everyone was competing for their own spot. Lots of you had a ton of applications against you in your state. And so I specifically asked them in an email one time how many girls were running for the spot of Indiana, and they never replied. And I was really curious because I wanted to know if I was the only person, and that's why they reached out to me. But they made me go through all these application processes and wait to find out if I got the spot. So I don't know. I don't know if there were a bunch of other girls that sent in applications. They didn't tell me any of that, but I was really curious. They made it sound like every state had a lot of people running against them, but they didn't fill us in on how many. Another question is, what is it like between takes? Oh my goodness. So I know I've always heard on reality shows that there's a lot of waiting around, and sometimes the time on the show doesn't really add up to how much time you're actually there. But oh my gosh, I guess I just didn't really realize it was gonna be how it was. Everything we did there took so long. The day of the wedding, that started at probably 8 a.m. is probably when our bus left to go start rehearsing and putting on our makeup and dresses and everything. And I think the wedding was supposed to start at 4. It ended up starting an hour and a half later. The guys had to wait down at the fountain for several hours in their tuxes, and let me just remind you, it was almost 100 degrees that day, and all these men were waiting down in their tuxes, and everyone was completely drenched. And once the girls finally were able to come outside, I don't know, 5 o'clock, whatever time it was, then we had to wait outside for another hour before we could walk down. And it just felt like we did not stop waiting around. And we were always looking around, looking at each other what the heck is going on? Someone get the show on the road. But I think there's so much behind the scenes stuff going on with the producers and the equipment and everything that we just don't understand, or little takes that they're doing on the sides or something like that. I don't even know. Everything is just hurry up and wait. Put on your makeup in 10 minutes and, oh, you don't like how you look for your wedding? Sorry, it's time to go. and then you sit there for like several hours, literally several hours, and you're like, wait, why did they have to do my makeup in 10 minutes? It just didn't make sense. It's all hurry up and wait. So when we got there in the morning to get our hair and makeup done for the wedding, they literally set timers. I think our hair was like a 15-minute timer that every girl got 15 minutes, and the timers were going off and they're like, go, 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 next one, next one. And I hated my hair, but I was just gonna zip my lips and not tell anybody. But other girls were literally crying, saying that they hated their hair. They didn't want to go out on their wedding day looking like an idiot. Everyone was in the bathrooms like lined up, and girls were doing each other's hair. Like there were professionals there to do our hair, but they were so rushed in those 15 minutes that they couldn't even get it done the way that they wanted to. So us girls were in the back like helping each other do their hair, helping each other fix their makeup. I was in the bathroom like redoing all my makeup because I thought it was horrible, but that's just only because that they didn't have enough time to work on it properly. So I don't know what the big rush was because we had so many hours of just sitting around later. But it was cool to see the girls jump in and do each other's hair and makeup and help each other out. The girls were laughing. Like I had this bun back here and it was just like hanging and there were hairs like falling out of it. It was so bad. I felt so embarrassed that I was gonna look that bad on the day that I was on TV. But they got most of it fixed. I still didn't really like my makeup. I'll look back at those pictures. I think the dress looked beautiful. The experience is so memorable and wonderful. But to be honest with you, I do not like my hair and makeup in any of the pictures or video that you'll see from the actual wedding day. So that's a little bit sad. But they were so rushed, and I'm always the person that feels bad to be like, hey, can you redo this? It looks so bad. So I kept trying not to say anything and just fix it all myself, but I didn't like how my hair and makeup looked that day. And I know I was absolutely not the only girl in that boat. At one point we had like producers coming in and Haley Page coming in and saying, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? And girls were crying and saying that they didn't like their hair. And they were like, this is absolutely not okay. You guys go back out, you get it redone, you ask people to fix it, because they wanted us to be happy. And when they came in and saw girls like crying and freaking out on their like wedding day, I think they felt really bad that it was turning out like that, but they just rushed everything so much. And because everything took so long, like the wedding day, most of us didn't eat before the wedding, but by the end of the night, it was like 9 o'clock by the time we went to get cake at the like after wedding reception. And the cake was actually made by the cake boss, so that was really cool. He was there presenting this 52-layer cake of red, white, and blue, and I'm just going to tell you, that was literally the best cake I've ever had in my life. I don't know what Buddy Valastro uses to make that cake, and I'm really disappointed to know that I'll probably never try that cake again in my life, but oh my gosh, it was so good. But you'll see a video, oh my gosh, of Connor. This was after our wedding. We hadn't eaten the entire day. It was like 9 p.m. and they gave us this wedding cake, and Connor and I, like, we were not paying attention to anything else going on in the room. We were scarfing down this cake so fast, and there's a video, it actually made it on the show, of Randy was standing up on a ladder talking to all the couples saying, congratulations, I'm out of here. Doing this whole nice speech, and Connor's in the back not even looking. He's like eating his cake so fast, and they like zoomed into his face. And we watched it so many times, like screeching, laughing. And our families were sending us videos from home like, oh my gosh, look at Connor. Randy was talking and being all kind and supportive, and Connor's over there like, and then we went back to the hotel and immediately ordered a pizza. So if you're wondering if they kept us well fed, we felt like we were starving the whole week. We ordered so many pizzas. Every time the camera was done rolling, we felt like we were so hungry. And maybe that was our own fault because we didn't really eat breakfast. But next question is the drama real? So I don't know if it is real because there were some things that happened on the show that were constructed by the show. They were never scripted. They never told anybody what to say, but they were definitely instigating some things. So for example, there was a dress that was tried on by one girl in a dressing room and she really liked it. And you know what they did? They took that dress out of her dressing room and handed it to another girl in another dressing room and said, try this one on, see what you think. And that girl was like, oh my gosh, I love this dress. And they said, here's the only problem. Someone else already really wanted the dress. And they tried to cause some sort of drama, which was actually hilarious because I don't think either girl ended up getting the dress. I think they both were like, you know what, that's okay. I like a different dress better anyway. I really like it, but that's all right. So I think they tried to create some drama that just wasn't really happening. They did sometimes tell us what to say, like if Randy would do a take and be like, so I'm gonna say this, and then I want everyone to yell this. And then they would stop shooting and they'd be like, okay, we need another take of that. So then Randy would say the same thing to everybody and then everyone would respond the same way. Or he would be like, now I'm gonna announce you as husband and wife, and I want you guys to have a big grand first kiss as husband and wife or whatever. And we had to do that take like literally 10 times. Like we weren't mic'd up for the wedding or anything, so everything that was going on in the background was like Connor and I always like talking and giggling and having our own conversations. So we felt like we were still like really in the moment, even if there were things going on around us that were kind of planned or like well thought out or multiple takes done to get a result that they really wanted for the cameras. But everything that was happening in the moment was still really special. Like Connor and I reciting our vows to each other, and we were like all up close in each other's face and all giddy, and like we're in a crowd of 52 couples, so like 104 people, but we still like had our own moment. And although we kissed like 10 times while he dipped me, those were all really fun and really funny because there are so many people there that the two of you get to spend that quality time together, because you can't spend time with every person and every couple there when there's that many people. So it does force you and your husband to like really bond. And I know a lot of the girls were like running around and making friends with everybody and like leaving their husbands behind to go talk to everybody else, which is awesome that they're like such social butterflies. But for Connor and I, we were so close and we're both kind of introverted that the two of us would always like kind of find a corner and just like still have our own little conversations and be like, oh my gosh, look what's going on over there. Oh, look, Randy's coming in. Like everything that was going on was in our own little world. So I felt like it was still a very unique experience for the two of us to have together. We didn't feel like it was all drowned out by the crowds around us. But every question that they ask, they'll tell you how to answer it by saying, answer it in a complete sentence. So if I ask you if you like the dress, you're not going to hear them asking you, do you like the dress? So you have to answer it in a complete sentence instead of just saying, yeah, I do. You have to answer to the camera by saying, I really don't like this dress because of this, this, and this, whatever. So that part is really confusing. It's not scripted, but they tell you like how to construct your sentences, like say it in a complete sentence as if nobody asked you a question. And now when you watch reality TV, you can pick up on that, like, oh, they're answering it in a complete sentence because someone is prompting them with these questions. And the last question is, did you actually get married on the show in Central Park? So basically they said, we are going to marry you in a ceremony, but it's up to you to go get your marriage license when you get to New York. You have to go to the courthouse basically immediately and pick up your marriage license. And for my family, only my mom, my dad, my sisters, my grandma, and my best friend, who was my maid of honor, they all got to come to New York and watch. But my husband wasn't able to have any of his family, and we just didn't want to get married knowing that his family wasn't going to be there to see it. So we decided to not make it officially official. We didn't sign any papers or get our marriage license there, but we still got married at home. Eventually we came to the decision that our home wedding was just going to be very small, basically just our immediate family, like parents, siblings, their spouses, their children, and like a couple of our very close friends. So because they couldn't be there for it, we decided just to officially get married at home. But a lot of the couples did get married officially at the New York ceremony. They got their marriage license and got married there. And even when we were in New York, I started wondering again, should we just go get our marriage license and just make this happen? Because we were so excited to get married. But our wedding was only like a month and a half later. So we finally decided like, no, we're just gonna stick it out. That's what we did. So we didn't officially get married at the wedding ceremony, but many of the couples did. But that's pretty much it. So if you have any other questions about behind the scenes or what happens on the show, go ahead and write that in the comments below. I can always make a part 2. Otherwise, that is my experience on Say Yes to the Dress America. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and give this video a like. Subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Remember, what God thinks about you is way more important than what the world thinks about you. We love you guys. Thanks so much. Bye.